What is up, guys? Here for the Madden YouTube channel. In today's video, we're going to be discussing the Madden 21 beta, some of the hot button topics that have been discussed coming out of the beta, my thoughts on those things, and what we should kind of do as a community, in my opinion, to make sure that this is in the best place going forward when the game drops in a couple of months. But before we do that, guys, please do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. Also, make sure you guys take the time to hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of the uploads coming your way here on the Madden YouTube channel. If you guys want to watch me play Madden live, you guys can find me live on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/ZanMadden. The link is in the description, as is a link for my ebook bundle. If you guys are looking for a different way to finish your season here in Madden 20, you guys can get my offense and my defense at my PayHip account. Over 3 hours of content, linked, no waiting for me to go live. You'll unlock all of the content upon checkout. Okay, guys, without further ado, let's get into the first topic of today's video. Might do a couple of videos over the next couple days. I know that the tip space is kind of drying up a little bit here as the focus has been over the last couple of days on the closed Madden 21 beta. So one of the hot button topics that is coming out of all of this beta talk is Earl Thomas ability. If you guys don't know what it is, it's called film study. And essentially what it is it's an ability that if you run a certain play X number of times, your opponent on defense will then see your play art as you set up that play when you call it, including the hot routes you might make to change it. Now, the first thing that comes to mind when I think of this topic is the idea that my base offense in Madden 20 right now, single back, wing tight U, wing tight Z, is based off of the fact that I am very sight adjustment, pre-snap reads, lots of changes to my plays. Now, the single back, wing tight U is actually an offense that is very, very limited from a passing selection standpoint. I've got drop back passes that either have a pump fake, I believe in the play sluggo, which kind of gives you a bad drop. I've got plays where the 7-step drop is too long and it makes those edge rush abilities absolutely insane. So I've only got like 1 or 2 plays for myself to call from a drop back standpoint from under center, and I use a hot route master to actually change up those plays. Now, one of the major misconceptions in the community is that pro players all run the same play over and over and over and over. The thing that's a little bit closer to reality is that pro players do run probably between, I would say, 7 and 10 calls that they have. But for each one of those calls that they have, they probably have 2 or 3 variants of that call. Now, when you liken that to a game that, you know, on a competitive level is 4 to 5 minute quarters, you're talking in between 16 and 20 minutes of football. And if you're running, you know, 7 to 10 plays and you've got 2 or 3 variants of each play, you're talking between 20 to 30 unique play calls for a 20-minute game. So for me personally, when we're talking about Madden, to me, that doesn't sound all that off. I mean, that sounds pretty good to me. Now, the thing that a lot of people will come in and say as a response, and I want to go ahead and nip that in the bud here from the top, is that you're going to get a lot of players out there that are going to say, well, everybody runs their offense around 1 or 2 main plays that are bugged, right? A rollout corner, a glitchy route that, you know, beats certain coverages, and it gets repetitive because that route is always there. Sure, it absolutely is. But the chess match becomes at that point, what are the other 4 guys on and how are they attacking the changes that you are making to your defense because you know that route is coming. So if I've got a route that scores a 1-play touchdown against cover 2 and all of a sudden you're rotating your safety a different way to not be in a cover 2, now all of a sudden I'm thinking to myself, okay, now my big play is taken away. What am I doing with my other players? And that's where the hot route master comes into play. That doesn't mean that I'm calling the same play. Sorry about that. I had to hit my cough button real quick. So that doesn't mean that I am running the same play. Sure, I have a route on the field that I'm making you respect, but that makes me think about how teams play in real life. And that's why I've got the Eagles set up here on the play call menu. And I'm actually under concepts. I'm just under mesh. Now, if you go and you do any film study on the Eagles, you're going to find that Doug Peterson calls the absolute living hell out of mesh spot. He loves this route combination. It is literally the inside 2 options meshing underneath, a third option snagging over the ball, just going to run a ball route. And then you've got a deeper dig or a deeper post from the backside of the formation, breaking over the top of everything. And typically the running back is wheeling out of the backfield. If you go through the Eagles playbook and you look at this, it's littered with mesh concepts. And if you watch the Eagles in real life, they're going to run this variation of, mesh a million times a game. Now, obviously it's not a million, but from a pure standpoint of how many times they actually throw the ball, if you look at their mesh concepts, you're going to find a variety of mesh calls. Now they'll run it from a few different formations. Of course, they're going to motion to certain alignments, and they're going to, motion guys across the formation to kind of create some bunch rules and do some crazy things like that to cause picks and rubs and things of that nature. But I want to talk about that and how that works in Madden. Say, for instance, that I want to run the single back wing tight variation of mesh. And the reason I want that is because in this particular type of mesh, the dig route that Alshon Jeffrey runs with the ball spotted on the 30 breaks at the 15. That is my favorite dig in the game, that 15-yard dig, because it is just there. It is constantly there. It beats man coverage to the inside. It stays behind the hook curl tier, and it stays behind the deep zone tier. If I go and I run this mesh concept, I can hit this square dig the vast majority of the time. Now, of course, there are coverages, as you see, that will counter it. But the vast majority of the time, you're looking at this square in dig as your option. I mean, it's right there. I mean, I threw a low ball right there, but I didn't need to. I could have hit that. That's the route that I want you to respect. Now, here's the problem. If I go to other variations of mesh, they aren't all necessarily the same way. Now, this one is, fortunately for us, it is. But we go back to the other plays of mesh. We don't have that particular option on all of our mesh plays. So, maybe in this situation, we go ahead and call our same, let me see here. I'm going to assume this gun wing slot offset does. Let me try to see here. Mesh spot. So for instance, right here, we want to run it, but we don't have the backside dig. We got this post route. So let me go ahead and call random play. This post route to me is not a very good one. This is a post route that to me has very, very little utility. I pulled my icons down right there. To me, there are only specific versions of digs and specific versions of posts and specific versions of different routes that work well with the underneath options in this game. And different Maddens from year to year will basically change what routes are important. Certain years flat zones are great. Certain years skinny posts are great. Certain years really skinny deep posts are great. Certain years, 15-yard in routes are the move. Certain years, other routes are the move over the middle. It's not the same in-breaking routes at that second or third level that keep the defense honest. Right there, I just threw it down pass lane. I was able to complete it. But what I'm getting at is that unless we have a variety of play calls from our formations with lots of options, we are limited from how many plays are actually good at doing what they're supposed to do from a concept standpoint in Madden. And no area, in my opinion, is bigger than when you try to run, your high-low curl flats in this game. So like if I were to go to, let me think here, curl flats. To me, the fact of the matter is that if you want me to call basic calls, you have to afford me, let me go ahead and spot the ball on the wide hash here for the Twins. You have to afford me the ability to be able to pick up the rack underneath. Now, from what I'm hearing, steerable racks are a thing in the Madden 21 demo. But if you're going to play it this way, I need to be able to throw my flat routes consistently against the curl flat coverage. Or, if they're playing curl flats, I need to be able to hit my curls consistently. So you see right here how that's going to bite down. Or you see right there how it just plays both, right? I can't throw either of those. I'm not getting rack potential from my flat against that curl flat. I'm not getting anything right there. Let me go ahead and put the ball on the other side. If I want to do this game with the tight end and the B receiver, curl to flat zones. If I'm getting that player to bite down into the flat, I should be able to throw my curl. But you see right here, he's basically going to play both, and I'm not going to be able to pick up hardly anything out of this. So, maybe this isn't the best representation of the quick pass game, but there are a million different representations of it. You see right here, yeah, that was okay. That did a decent job. But what I'm getting at is that we all know that stock plays in Madden aren't great. And that's the reason that we find ourselves going to stock plays that do work, do beat coverages, whether it be man or zone. And then we've built our schemes around those things. And now with the film study coming in, we're being told that, hey, you're running this play too much. That is, to me, that's never okay to tell me that I can't call a certain play X amount of times if my opponent is struggling to defend it. Now, of course, there are definitely problematic plays. Roll out corners, cut blocking, roll out through the corner. They get the diving animation. I get it. Trust me, I do. But what you are doing to alleviate the concerns of those types of offenses are going to absolutely, positively neuter the offenses that are run with good intent. And what I mean by that is, hey, I'm just making side adjustments, pre-snap reads. You're playing off coverage on the outside. I think that they're playing a deep responsibility. Doesn't seem that a buzz zone is going to be able to get over there. I want to be able to throw an outbreak, a short outbreaking route, and attack underneath on the sideline. But now, because I've done that 2 or 3 times, now all of a sudden film study says, hey, you've seen this before. Even though you want to sit in your off coverage and you don't want to do any adjusting, your opponent is recognizing that that is the case for you. And they're attacking and being successful. Here, let us hold your hand a little bit and tell you, hey, you've seen this before. This is coming. Here's exactly what they're doing. Adjust. To me, that's not okay. It's more of a, it's not a chicken or the egg. It's chicken or the chicken is basically what it is for me. Is it that the defense dictates what the offense does or the other way around? Because right now, the way I play the game is, at least in 20, is we've got these 7-man blitzes. We've got, and a lot of these things are going to be fixed in 21, but we've got all these blitzes, and there's a lot that the defense does to dictate how the offense plays. The offense is put into a square peg in a round hole situation where we have to run one of 2 or 3 different meta offenses this year. This one being stretch and dive because the pass game is so tough. Now imagine that meta is applied with film study to Madden 21. Let's just say that you're thrown into this magical world where the film study in Madden 21 is applied to Madden 20. Stretch, dive, stretch, dive. Oh, you've seen stretch, you've seen dive so many times, even though the passing game is very, very difficult in this year's game. Now, we're going to tell your opponent every time you call a middle run dive or an outside run stretch, they're going to know that. Oh, and by the way, the passing being hard because you blitz 7, yada, yada. The only real thing that's really working is those rollout corners this year because passing from the pocket is very difficult. Now, all of a sudden, once you've run 2 or 3 of those rollout corners, now the film study kicks in on those as well. To me, that's a road you don't want to go down. It's a road you do not want to go down. I've been giving feedback on Madden for many years, many years. I've gone to game changer events. I've talked to developers. I've been able to do these things. And for me personally, I kind of have seen the community response, at least early on, to what this film study is. And it's a very 50-50 world. I get the benefits. Trust me, I do. I get the benefits of the film study kicking in against the near close offense where it's literally fullback dive, roll out right, roll out left. I get it. I totally do. But when it also neuters people like myself who want to find things in the corners of the game that nobody actually tries to clean, and I say, oh, hey, this single back wing tight U offense actually has some good runs, very limited from a passing perspective, but hey, I can fix that myself with the hot route master and make this an all-around scheme. And then you tell me, hey, Zan, nah, you can't do that because we're not going to give you lots of drop back passes from all the different sets in the game. You're going to have to sit there and deal with drag and spacing, and your stretch and your dive is just a 3-play mini scheme, and you can't run it more than once or twice because we're going to give the film study to your opponent. Even though the reality of it is that I run drag and spacing and I have upwards of 20 different variants of that play. I've got the stretch, I've got the dive, I've got a couple shot plays that I set up. And then I have two other formations that I audible into that each have probably 2 runs and a pass that I, again, do the same things that I do there, 2 or 3 variants. I'm going to be playing an offense that's actually more variety. I'm going to show you more variety in my offense in terms of Madden 20. I'm going to show you more variety than a pro is going to show you. I'm going to show you far more variety than a casual is going to show you. And I'm going to be punished more so than both the casual and the pro. To me, I don't give self-serving feedback very often, but for me, this is a big time no-go. Like, I say this about as passionately as I've said about anything in Madden ever. I was there when Volt was swerving and the swerve was legal on the MCS level. And I absolutely flamed EA for that. And right here, I'm taking this hill. I'm planting my flag in this hill. You cannot do this. Do not do this to Madden 21. This is a big-time bugaboo. Nobody uses Omaha because Peyton Manning is immobile and pocket passes are impossible in Madden 20. The last thing that I think you guys need to do is put that film study ability on the defense. I'm very, very, very certain of that. You do not want to do this. You do not want to. I don't say that as someone who's scared, because trust me, let me go ahead and segue there. You know, we're only 15 minutes into this little commentary on this. There's going to be people out there that say, you know, oh, pro players are just terrified of having to expand their offense. Do you guys honestly believe that? Do you guys honestly believe that? That pro players are going to hurt from this? Because they're not. The last thing, when I think about the most surgical minds in Madden, the last thing you should be, honestly, you should be grateful that Kivs and Skimbos and all these guys that are just surgeons out of Just Bunch only apply their logic to Just Bunch. The last thing you want is a mechanism that forces them to do the same thing out of 4 or 5 other formations. And now you've got the headaches of the bunch applied 4 or 5-fold. You don't want that. Trust me. Count your lucky stars that you only have to get into the lab and really think hard about defending just their bunch over the years. Last thing you want is, them doing the same damn things out of 4 or 5 other formations, using that skill set that they've had to master one formation and doing it to 4 or 5 other formations out of necessity. You're going to say, oh, that'll look better because it's variety. But I promise you, your tune will flip on that. Your tune will flip on that. You will wish that the film study didn't force them to do that. Because no matter what, I mean, we say it every year, all the pro players, they're going to struggle this year. They're going to struggle this year. No, they never do. They never do. That's a narrative that has never, ever, ever been true. Guys, I appreciate you listening to my my little rant here. This is just something that is very, very important to me. As somebody who tries to find the things that are underdeveloped in the game and build cool stuff around them and show it off on YouTube and try to bring you guys a little bit of joy in this game. Film study is going to hurt that. It's going to do the opposite of what it needs to do. This is bad for Madden. Get in the lab and good luck.